Good morning. Welcome to 5-Minute Marketing Tips. This week, in the audio version, we're looking at disruption, as read by yours truly. I've never been at a loss for something to write about or a way to share my opinion on things. But after covering AI extensively in the spring and summer earlier this year, I was feeling a bit lost, like a boat blown off its mooring, casting about at sea. The marketing industry is experiencing really big changes right now. AI, LLMs like ChatGPT, the Twitter rebrand, new platforms like Threads, and the rising power of foreign-controlled TikTok. I'm still having a hard time calling the little Bluebird X. The whole formerly known as kind of feels like I'm talking about Prince. Not only is the industry being disrupted, I've been feeling personally disrupted. Whether you're a marketer, a blogger, a podcaster, video creator, or entrepreneur in general, we are unquestionably living in a time of massive disruption. AI is threatening a lot of things that we do. Social media platforms and changing algorithms are making it harder to get noticed. We no longer have the reach that we once did. Creating amazing content or having a great product means nothing if nobody sees or hears about it. I've been a marketing consultant and speaker for many years, and I remember a time without the internet, a time with no email. I remember when there was no social media, no blogging, no YouTube, and no Facebook. I remember a time when the only way to get your message out was through a newspaper, magazine, TV, radio station, billboard, or the post office. These are all intermediary media, of course, and they are all still viable as integrated marketing communication options. But living in recent times with the internet has offered an unprecedented opportunity to get our message to people directly. Things changed with the internet, and they are now changing again. I can remember paying Sonia $2 a page to type my undergrad thesis in the late 80s at the University of Waterloo. I thought it was pretty cool have made enough money to have somebody else do the busy work of making it look good. Well, I went to the pub. We didn't have personal computers yet. In fact, my Computer Science 101 class, the summer of 1984, was the first group of students working on the original Macintosh computers. The TAs no doubt watched with amusement as a bunch of arts students interacted with those machines. Personal computing arrived en masse several years later. I can remember driving ad proofs around to clients when I worked at the Georgia Strait in the late 80s, and then in the early 90s, faxing them out. Yes, faxing was a thing. And then along came digital proofs and, of course, email. I can remember pre-press design for print flats that were then plated and then printed as ink on paper weekly for the Georgia Strait newspaper, where I worked as a sales manager. And then along came digital files that enabled direct-to-plate printing and later digital online content. I remember industry colleagues selling print ads, and then along came Facebook advertising that kind of decimated advertising and the local newspapers that it supported. I remember the strength of talk radio and its active, engaged listeners as an advertising opportunity for clients, and then along came podcasts. The same thing happened with network TV appointment viewing, which has largely evolved to online and subscription-based viewing. Music used to be released as albums. Then it was digitized first as CDs, then online as singles, and now by subscription. The book industry was disrupted by Amazon. Blockbuster and Rogers were initially disrupted, shifting from VHS to DVDs, and then Netflix arrived and wiped out the whole industry. Gas-powered cars are being replaced by EVs. Autonomous driving was promised, and now it's happening. We will be forever in disruption. In fact, as I review the list above, my entire career in media has pretty much thrived during these periods of disruption. The key has always been in adapting and trying new things, prompted by continuously scanning new trends. Being in a state of constant curiosity and learning has been key. When you accept disruption, it allows you to prepare for it. It alters your thinking from victim to opportunist. You start thinking about ways that you might take advantage of a shift rather than denying the change and clinging to what once was. How do you change perspective? Well, like the cycle of the tide or the wind that blows a boat off its mooring, it's a force that will always win. It's far easier to go with the flow than to fight back. We all need to shift our mindset around marketing these days, but we need to see what is happening so that we can take advantage of it. We can't just assume what we have today is what we will have tomorrow, or what works today will work tomorrow. We need to evolve. Predicting things can likely help. So here's a couple things that I've noticed. We are reading less. The written word used to be king. Now we seem to be shifting to a preference for audio and video, at least on social media. Reading isn't going away anytime soon, but undeniably, as more and more content is consumed through mobile, there is an increased desire to hear and see in addition to reading options. We're searching less. AI will continue to impact how search is delivered online. Content that is found and shared is becoming more prevalent. Micro-communities are a thing. People are gathering, often in private groups and communities, around interests with other like-minded folks. Discord, Facebook groups, WhatsApp private groups, and subgroups in other social media are great examples. We've got disinformation and the blurring of facts. And we're soon to enter an era of AI-generated content where, with the influence of a few bad players, it may get difficult to recognize what is actually true. I'm genuinely worried about the 2024 US election and how AI could meddle with democracy. From a marketing perspective, though, rather than fret about the parallels to George Orwell's 1984 and the Ministry of Truth, we need to establish direct channels where people find our content and we offer real person analysis, strategy, facts, and opinions. I believe we're moving ever closer to a time when people will gravitate to information from individuals who have earned their trust through thought leadership. SEO is changing. The days of us showing up in search for a listing of content, hopefully on page 1, are going away. AI-assisted search will soon deliver consolidated answers to queries with fewer chances of people linking directly to our content. While I'm not entirely certain how to beat all this, I do know that change is required, and change that takes advantage of the opportunities buried in these trends. And that's a good place to start. With AI set to challenge our skill sets and even careers, having a presence, reputation, and authority to stand out in our field is the only way to fight back. And in my mind, the best way to do that is through sharing personal opinions, thoughts, perspective, and wisdom, hard-earned through experience and shared through story. Kind of like I'm doing with you here right now this morning. This is likely to be the new differentiator in this state of disrupted SEO, AI, and shifting social media. In the future, we will be more apt to trust information delivered direct and in a personable way via a person that we trust. Being able to hear a voice or see a person undoubtedly brings us closer to them. That's part of the reason why I'm experimenting with this audio-video format in this newsletter every second week. I'd love to get your feedback, see what you think. You can email me at mary@charlson.ca or mary@5minutemarketing.com. Thanks for being here, and until next week, let's embrace this thing called disruption. We'll see you next week.